Let the mission start today with our favorite American patriot and Street Fighter II's favorite, Guile. Devoted family man and military operative, Guile lives to serve his country and fight along with his friends from the tyranny of the Shadaloo organization. We'll cover everything you need to know about Guile. Welcome to the Street Fighterverse. Producer Noritaka revealed that Guile's overall appearance was modeled after Jean-Pierre Polnareff from Stardust Crusaders. Polnareff has a muscular build and is above average in height. In addition to silver hair, he has a receding hairline and a tall flat top. He lacks eyebrows. Additionally, he wears earrings that look like a broken heart. In addition, Funamisu explains that Guile's name comes from Polnareff's arch-enemy, Guile, though the mix-up was attributed to the development staff. Early drafts of Guile, designed by Akira Yasuda, included the modest yet vertical hairstyle of Polnareff. While the sprites were being made for Street Fighter II, the pixel artist jokingly stretched Guile's hair out to the side. After finding it amusing, the team decided to give him the classic Stroheim look instead. Rudolf von Stroheim is a Nazi officer who researches and experiments on the Pillar Man Santana. Guile's iconic sonic boom was called the Divine Sandstorm during the development of Street Fighter II. Developer comments indicate that this might be a reference to the character Wamu, who also uses an attack with the same name. His physical appearance is strikingly different from the many Asian characters in the Street Fighter series, with light blue eyes, without eyebrows, a chiseled jaw, a permanently displeased expression, and his most recognizable feature, a tall, flat-top haircut. Capcom sourcebooks suggest that Guile's famous hairdo is styled with a special order army hairspray to keep it up, though he usually fixes it quickly after a match. Guile's all-American image includes military fatigues and United States flag tattoos on each shoulder. The image of the uniformed American airman is well known in Japan due to the number of United States Armed Forces bases present in that country. Guile wears Charles's dog tag alongside his own. The voice of Guile and its actors have changed over the years. Each of the actors have given a new interpretation to flare Guile's legacy. In this list we will mention voice actors in English only and live-action movies. First of Michael Donovan.
I'm just getting warmed up!
From the Street Fighter animated series. Second, Kirk Thornton.
What the devil's going on in there?
From Street Fighter II, the animated movie, Rob Mungle.
Hadn't you ought to be doing your homework or studying?
Jesse Kuntz. From Street Fighter Motion Comics, Travis Willingham.
I'll clean up this mess.
From Street Fighter IV, Street Fighter Tekken, Street Fighter V, and one of the most legendary actors of all time to play Guile. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a Belgian actor, martial artist, filmmaker, and fight choreographer. If there is one thing we love about Guile, it's his American military patriot music. As soon as the round starts, the heroic melodies prepare you for battle. But did you ever wonder who created this nostalgic melody that we all grew to cherish and love? It comes from the legendary music producer, Yoko Shimomura. She was one of the main musical composers for the Street Fighter II series. Shimomura's work can be recognized in many different video game franchises during the years. Some of Shimomura's most recognized works can be seen in titles like Kingdom Hearts, Parasite Eve, Breath of Fire, and others. As a fun fact, it is stated that Ken's background theme was originally intended to be for Guile's stage. Inspiration for video game music at the time was always a derivative of a popular song or theme. It is no exception with Guile's stage music. Here's an example of the similarities between Yoko Shimomura's Guile Street Fighter version. Now let us hear the version from T-Square Travelers. Guile's stage is one of the most iconic stages in the Street Fighter franchise. From the Street Fighter II complete file, it states that Guile's stage is set on the Air Force Base. The stage has some of his colleagues watching the battle, and an F-16 fighting Falcon jet in the background, with the text CAP RF512. The stage has 2 crates that can be broken. The story goes that Guile went to the Air Force Base while searching who killed his comrade, Charlie Nash, his only clue being the name M. Bison. In the base, someone challenges him for a fight, in exchange for information. In Street Fighter V, the Air Force base appears as Guile's stage, being somewhat of a replica of the Super Street Fighter II version, now featuring an F-18. One of the most important moves by Guile is his sonic boom and his flash kick. Executed by charging downward, then pressing upward and kicking, the user performs a backflip, kicking his opponent harshly as he does. The attack is almost instantaneous, and the arc of the kick leaves a flash on its wake. The kick's speed. It is useful as a nigh impenetrable anti-air counter. It is also good for zoning, ending combos, punishing, and preventing certain cross-up attempts. It is said that Guile's journey starts as a rookie in the United States Air Force. In this military branch, he meets his superior officer named Charlie Nash. Guile and Charlie later become great friends. Guile knows that Charlie is proficient in his unique way of fighting. He asks if Charlie can train him, which Nash agrees to. Guile practices and learns Charlie Nash's style of fighting, but due to his lack of temper, his moves are not as efficient as Charlie's is. An example of this is reflected in the ability of displaying a sonic boom attack. Guile needs to use both his hands to execute the sonic boom, as the difference from Charlie Nash, who only needs one hand to generate sufficient force to execute the attack. As time passes by, Guile is in the events of Street Fighter Alpha 3, where originally Guile was introduced in the Street Fighter series. William Guile is called upon duty by the United States Air Force for a special mission regarding his mentor and best friend Charlie Nash, who has gone MIA during a secret investigation. Guile's search and intel led him to one of the Interpol's top investigators, Chun-Li. She warns Guile from the dangers he is about to face, but Guile is there on a mission. The only objective is the safe retrieval of Charlie Nash. All of Guile's intel leads him to a Shadowloo base in Thailand, where he manages to find his friend Charlie Nash. He advises Charlie that they must leave, due to an airstrike that is about to occur. However, Charlie wants to capture Bison in fear that he will escape. They both face Bison. Eventually, Bison calls a gunship to help him cover his escape. They chase Bison towards the base, and decide to destroy Bison's source of power, the Psycho Drive. Chun-Li indicates the airstrikes get called off more than likely, influenced by M. Bison. Charlie and Guile plant explosives around the Psycho Drive to blow it to bits. While this is happening, Ryu fights and defeats Bison temporarily, forcing Bison to regenerate in the Psycho Drive. Bison manages to reassemble. During this moment, Charlie holds Bison, telling Guile to escape before the base explodes. The base explodes, and in it were Bison and Charlie, who most likely got caught within the blast. Chun-Li tries to cheer up Guile, that Charlie may be alive. In the events of Street Fighter II, Bison survives the explosion. Guile is looking for revenge for what he did to Charlie. Bison opens a World Warrior tournament to trap and study the world's top fighters. Guile leaves and enters the tournament. In his ending, Guile has defeated Bison, but does not kill him. He states that he is not a murderer like him. After the event, he visits Charlie's grave. Guile states that his obsession for revenge consumed him and destroyed his family. However, he is interrupted by his wife and daughter, who encourage him to go home. In the games prior to HD Remix and Ultra, Guile's hesitation to kill Bison in his ending is instead interrupted by the arrival of Julia and Amy, who persuade him to give up on his revenge and return home. Guile, refusing to become a murderer like Bison, concludes that he feels like he is waking up from a long nightmare and returns to his family. In the events of Street Fighter IV, Shadowloo is apparently gone. Guile has high hopes that Charlie might be alive. He wants to organize a search for his friend, but his superior officers do not let him. Guile resigns, but his commander does not accept his resignation. Instead, he gives Guile an investigative case towards an organization called SIN. This organization is said to have had ties with the Shadowloo. He takes the call and recruits Chun-Li to the investigation, as they both enter the SIN tournament. While in the tournament, Guile encounters Abel. He recognizes Guile's sonic boom attack from before. Guile quickly pressured Abel to give him information about the whereabouts of Charlie. It is implied that Guile won this fight, as Abel is later seen traveling with Guile and Chun-Li to the SIN base. Guile manages to find the important data from SIN. Guile is ambushed by one of Bison's cyborgs. While trying to save Chun-Li, Abel arrives and takes on the cyborg instead, telling Guile where Chun-Li is and telling him to hurry. Exactly how Chun-Li is then rescued isn't clear. Jen seems to have protected her from a collapse, and then broken free from the rubble, but it is nowhere to be seen later, as Guile and Abel watch the base explode, with an unconscious Chun-Li in Giles' arms. After these events, Guile returns to Charlie's grave, placing a beer bottle on it, as a way of buying his old friend a drink. He tells the grave that although SIN's plans have been foiled, he knows that he hasn't seen the last of Shadowloo. In the Street Fighter V game's main theory, Guile's superior, General Byron Taylor, is investigating the Black Moon, which had detonated over New York, causing loss of signal and blackouts. Guile informs General Taylor that the attack might be connected to the missing hackers that have been kidnapped by Shadowloo. General Taylor sends him on a mission to New York, with Chun-Li to come along. In New York, he and Chun-Li find all 4 of the Shadowloo executive. He tries to stop Chun-Li from fighting, but fails. Chun-Li is knocked down by M. Bison, and is nearly finished off when Cammy saves her and helps her escape with Guile. Cammy talks to Guile about the 7 Black Moons and their connection to the missing hackers. She gives Chun-Li one of the keys to the Black Moons. Charlie, now resurrected, confronts Guile and fights him to get the key. Charlie manages to overpower Guile. Guile angrily throws a sonic boom, which Charlie absorbs. Charlie takes the key and leaves with Rashid and Azam. Guile is enlisted by Karin Kansuki to stop Shadowloo and their plans. Zangief, who had received a key, gave it to a friend in India, so Guile and Zangief go to India to get it. When they get the key, they are ambushed by Balrog, Ed, Santamo, and other Shadowloo soldiers. They try to fight off Shadowloo, but Ed gets the key, which was hidden inside Zangief's chest hairs, and leave. Guile pilots an escape helicopter during the first assault on the Shadowloo base and reunites with Charlie. When they return to the Kansuki estate, Guile is relieved to see Charlie again. They subdue Abel, who is under the influence of the psycho power. Charlie uses his absorption power to remove Abel's psycho power. As Charlie leaves to regroup with Rashid and Colin, Guile gives his dog tag back to him. During the final assault against Shadowloo, both Chun-Li and Guile are confronted by Bison. Charlie appears and fights off M. Bison. Charlie sacrifices himself in an attempt to kill Bison, as Guile helplessly watches. The sacrifice proves to be fruitless, as Bison survives the kamikaze. Rashid eventually shuts down Operation Chains as a whole, allowing Ryu to finish off M. Bison. Guile escapes the explosion with Ryu and Chun-Li, and reunites with the team, knowing that M. Bison is finally gone. Sonic Boom, defined by the Super Nintendo Street Fighter II Turbo User's Manual, describes it as follows. The Sonic Boom. By whipping his hands and arms through the air, Guile is able to create a burst of energy called the Sonic Boom. This energy burst speeds towards an opponent and momentarily stuns anyone it hits. The user unleashes a rapidly spinning crescent-shaped wave of golden-colored ki force, with a quick arm motion. Ki is the term used in the Japanese martial arts for a type of intrinsic energy that is present in everyone, but is developed to a greater extent in martial arts practitioners through correct breathing and strengthening exercise. Guile uses this energy to create his special move. In scientific terms, a sonic boom is a sound associated with shock waves created when an object travels through the air faster than the speed of sound. Sonic booms generate enormous amounts of sound energy, sounding like an explosion or a thunderclap to the human ear. The crack of a supersonic bullet passing overhead, or the crack of a bullwhip, are examples of a sonic boom in miniature. The sound source is traveling at 1.4 times the speed of sound. Since the source is moving faster than the sound waves it creates, it leads the advancing wavefront. A sonic boom does not occur only at the moment an object crosses the speed of sound, and neither is it heard in all directions from the supersonic object. Rather, the boom is a continuous effect that occurs while the object is traveling at supersonic speeds. But it only affects observers that are positioned at a point that intersects a region in the shape of a geometrical cone behind the object. As the object moves, this conical region also moves behind it. And when the cone passes over the observer, they will briefly experience the boom. Examples of the cause of a sonic boom can also be seen in aircrafts. When an aircraft passes through the air, it creates a series of pressure waves in front of the aircraft and behind it, similar to the bow and stern waves created by a boat. These waves travel at the speed of sound, and, as the speed of the object increases, the waves are forced together, or compressed, because they cannot get out of each other's way quickly enough. Eventually, they merge into a single shock wave, which travels at the speed of sound, critical speed known as Mach 1, and is approximately 767 miles per hour under specific conditions, such as the change in atmosphere with altitude and temperature. in this case at sea level, and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The sound of a sonic boom depends largely on the distance between the observer and the aircraft's shape producing the sonic boom. It's usually heard as a deep double boom, as the aircraft is usually some distance away. The sound is much like that of mortar bombs, commonly used in firework displays. It's a common misconception that only one boom is generated during the subsonic to supersonic transition. Rather, the boom is continuous along the boom carpet for the entire supersonic flight. If you're wondering if a sonic boom can kill you, well, in this article named "Can a Loud Enough Sound Kill You?" created by the technology and electronics website called Extreme Tech, they say that the general consensus is that a loud enough sound could cause an air embolism in your lungs, which then travels to your heart and kills you. Alternatively, your lungs might simply burst from the increased air pressure. High-intensity ultrasonic sound can cause physical damage. This is pretty interesting. Thankfully, Guile or Nash have that power, or do they? We can only assume, since there is a version of Nash who is called Shadow, in which he uses the same technique, but it's infused with M. Bison's psycho power. The sonic boom breaks all the barriers in special moves. It uses key energy as its source of energy. It uses science as a basis of its structure. Its entirety is made in harmony to create an outstanding move, delivered by Guile himself. Tell us how you feel about Guile's sonic boom. Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our new theories and info. Thank you for watching. This was your Street Fighter host. Welcome to the center stage.